What's up, guys? Legendary Talks, episode 96. We have the amazing Delphine Diallo. Gearing up for my 100th episode. Very excited. It's next Thursday. Tomorrow we have the cultural icon that is DJ D Nice. Today is DJ MOS's birthday. Happy birthday, DJ MOS. It's also Beth Ann Hardison's birthday. So there's some amazing birthdays today, some Libras in the house. And yeah, I'm just getting geared up for my 100th episode that I'm very excited about. Cannot believe I've done almost 100 of these. What's up, Michael Monroe? How are you? Yeah, I have the amazing Delphine Diallo today. She will be joining us shortly. She's a really interesting, unique girl that I cannot wait to chat with. Like I said, MOS's birthday today. Can't wait to celebrate with him. And then tomorrow we have the legendary D Nice, a rock. But excited to chat with him as well. So, hey Britt, love you. Hi Boo.
Hello, honey. Hello, honey boo.
How you feeling?
It's been forever, right? Wait, let me just put the volume up for a second. Here we go, perfect.
How are you feeling?
How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm fantastic, my love. I'm fantastic. I'm so glad we had time to catch up right now.
What are you drinking? Belvedere and soda. Cheers.
Yeah, ginger, hibiscus.
So
lemon.
I want to thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. And I think you've seen a few of these, but this is my 96th episode, which I can't believe. And basically, we just celebrate people that have been really important to culture over the last, decade or so. And I thought you'd be a great person to interview, as I know you, but maybe some of my people watching don't know you. So I'd like to, for them to get to know you a little better and know what you've done for culture. So
yeah.
So the first question I like to ask people is, describe yourself to me as if I did not know you.
Hey, my name is Delphine Diallo. I'm a visual artist, photographer, French Senegalese, based in New York City, living in Brooklyn, Bushwick. And I am exploring the many different forms of empowering the Black female through photography. And I'm a visual artist.
You're freezing, but we'll figure it out. Not my first time with a frozen IG Live. We'll figure this out. But anyway, she was saying that she's a visual artist. You froze a little bit. Do you know that?
Yeah? Can you hear me? Yeah, better?
Yeah. So basically, we didn't get to hear that. You said you're a visual artist focusing on what?
I love it. Okay, I'm repeating again. I'm a photographer focusing on empowering the Black female within the photography portraiture, and I'm discovering the psyche of the Black female within my work, which is involving strength, integrity, respect, spirituality, and consciousness. That's my work.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan, first of all. So you were born in Paris, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you think? How do you think that Paris, has influenced your life, being born in Paris?
Ho. So, I don't know if people know about the Palace, right? But I'm born in '77, so I grew up in the '90s. So Paris is very connected with the hip hop culture at the time. Public Enemy, Tribe Called Quest, KRS One, and so many, Wu-Tang. And I grew up in a very diverse culture in Paris, but as well as in arts. I was visiting museum very early age, and my education it was very artistic education.
Yeah.
So all the, let's say, what built me as a French or as a Parisian, I'm very Parisian because I feel like I'm very connected to the aesthetic of things around me. And everything has to be aesthetically pleasurable, pleasurable.
Yep.
I think it's something that Paris, specifically people from Paris has.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, Paris is, you know, like you said, aesthetically pleasing. Everywhere you look in Paris is that. You know, it's kind of like gorgeous. On any street corner you look up and it's gorgeous, you know, unlike other cities. I mean, New York is gorgeous in a different way, but Paris is like stunningly, you know, more regal, I guess. Paris is more regal than New York, you know.
Like royal, you know.
Yeah. What's your sign?
I'm a Cancer, Moon and Sun, and Scorpio. So it's 3
Just wondering.
Yeah.
And then, what do you think you've taken, like, you know, in your current life? What do you think you took with you from Paris? You know, you've been in America for many years. What besides your accent, obviously, what's the main thing that is always very Parisian in you currently?
The baguettes and the red wine.
Well, those are also, you know, we like them too.
And then as well the I like to cook, you know, for people. So there is something that for me, like, food is very important. And the gathering that I'm doing in my house in my studio in Bushwick, it's always around this conversation and discussion about art, intellect, you know, architecture, philosophy, spirituality. I love to have space that people can express themselves, you know.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, I think that's where you and I kind of connected, is that, you know, we love expression in general, you know. Who's the first black model you ever saw that you remember?
That I saw in real life for the first time?
No, that you remember as a kid, or, you know, in a magazine or something.
Oh, Naomi Campbell, for sure.
No, okay. It's funny, a lot of people, most people say her.
I was 14 years old. Yeah.
And were you kind of blown away, or completely, you know, like in awe, or what, you know, what was it?
I mean, in the 90s, man, I was this young mixed girl in Paris, not having any role model, seeing the top model era. And you know what was one of the best, because photographers were killing it at the time. They're having like Cindy Crawford, Naomi Campbell, Linda Evangelista, and all, you know, Chrissy Turlington, and all those women were kind of a queen. So when I saw Naomi Campbell in Herbert's picture, Avedon picture, and many other Mario Testino picture, definitely she got a big hit on that, because she was working with the best visual makers at the time. Very impressed, you know, by Naomi legacy.
Oh, listen, she paved the way for I think because she's still around, people don't give her kind of the, you know, I think in years to come, she's going to get even more respect for, you know, paving the way that she did. And, you know, I'm sure it was not easy for her. I mean, she was really tough and successful, you know, so.
Again, I spent time with her, I think, last year.
Yeah.
And what I do with women, I always put myself in their place to feel if there is any nurturing around when you become very popular and famous as a woman, or actually as a woman, you kind of creating an isolation.
Yeah.
And then you step away from other women's strength and power.
Yeah.
And I think that was the era of the 90s.
Yeah.
The era of the 90s is like women were famous, but like on their own journey. Right?
Yeah.
Today, I feel like there is more togetherness within for me, the Black experience as a Black female, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to be on my own, like being successful as a Black woman, you know?
Want to be together, as a, you know, together.
Yeah, I want to see them rising at the same time together, seeing their success, Kelly's, Alicia Keys, and others.
Yeah, in the 90s, in her time, you know, there was only a few other Black models. She was basically kind of the only really super successful one. You know, she was by herself in a lot of ways, you know. And then what's a movie or like a music video from your, you know, childhood that you know, either, you know, blew your mind or kind of like changed you in some way? Could be a movie, music video. What, you know, what's that moment?
I think the video of Michael Jackson.
Which one?
I mean, Thriller.
Yeah. It's so funny because everybody, I've asked this question before, and I almost banned Michael Jackson from the answer, you know, because everybody says, like, listen, no shade to him, but everybody says Michael Jackson, so.
Yeah, definitely. I was 7 or 8, and that video blew my mind. I was under the table, hiding, looking for what was the zombie story, and then I was so attracted to his energy, because it was so alive at the same time showing zombie. And I was like, this guy was so alive, you know? Yeah, definitely changed my perception.
Well, no, we've never seen anything like that. Like I remember our eyes being like, "What are we looking?" That's a human. That doesn't even seem like a human being, you know, like above human, you know. And then, who's the first Black artist that you became aware of?
Again, I was in Paris, so you know I need to work a little bit more on that. But I think outside of Michael Jackson, for example, because I really grew up with him. I felt like I followed his career since I was born. And outside of him, I had Whitney Houston very much from my heart. Very deep fan of Whitney Houston. So those two, Whitney Houston and Michael Jackson, was for me the first kind of Black role model that I had when I grew up from like 5 years old to 15, you know?
Yeah. And when did you kind of start, even at a young age, appreciating art? I remember going to a museum when I was like 8 years old in Detroit, and it blew my mind. You know, I saw Diego Rivera on a mural, and I remember being very young and being so drawn to art. When did you start a love for art?
Well, I get the chance to have an amazing mother, and my mother was an artist and a painter.
Oh, wow.
So she told me everything very early, and by 4 or 5 years old, I was drawing, and I was learning an anatomy book, perspective book, architecture book, and she brought me to the Louvre almost every weekend. So I grew up going to the Louvre. So
amazing.
I felt like the aesthetic was actually, she was smart. She was the master. She was preparing me, showing me the best painters very early age, you know, and now they're in me. You know?
Good, great. You went to school. You went to art school as a young person, basically. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, your mother, she was taking you to art school in quotes, you know?
Definitely.
Okay, so when did you move to New York?
Obama time, 2008, November. Investigation time.
No, I remember the day, the year. I mean, I remember moving to New York. Exactly.
Where were you? Where were you at that day? Where?
Detroit. Oh, November 2008. I was in New York, living my best life, doing parties, amazing parties.
Yeah. That was a great time. That was a great time.
Well, okay, so I would say, you know, that first year in New York, it teaches you everything you need to know about New York. You know, if you move there and you're kind of like intimidated by New York, if you can make that first year, you're good money. You're good to go. What was that first year like for you?
Wow, I love the question because you know the answer is always crazy. You know, Damon. New York. When you arrive in New York, you in love with New York. You fall in love with New York. You don't need a boyfriend or girlfriend. You're just like, I'm busy.
Yep.
And then you going with the flow, people inviting you there and there, and then you catching the vibe and the energy of New York City. You discovering like Black, Latinos, whites, you know, together in the same nightclub. Probably like Studio 54 when everybody was mixed and we're experiencing the new music together. And I think New York has this aspect where when there is the best DJ, there is the best people, right? So that was my first discovery in New York, where the nightlife was giving a lot of love, you know, when it was really present.
What was the first nightclub you went to in New York?
Bungalow 8.
Oh, good one. And so I also think too, like the first time I stepped foot in a nightclub, I was just like, I thought heard angels sing. It was such an amazing experience for me. What was it like for you when you walked into Bungalow 8?
I first of all, I realized how innocent I was. Like nightlife in Paris is still very cool, you know, it's okay. Everybody's like hiding a little bit, nobody really expressing themselves like deep like New York. So that's the big difference between New York and Paris nightlife. Even if I experienced the Palace, and Palace was a very special time in history. The gay community and the expression, the free expression. But that was one place, you know. In New York, there's so many places that the beauty of people like being free during nightlife, for me was actually the gift of New York. It's like I didn't have to judge anyone anymore at night. And I think that was that can be an addiction the first 2 years when you're in New York, because you keep going out, because in that field you realize everybody wants to be happy and joyful, really, especially in New York, you know.
Yeah, the brilliance of New York is that there's always more to discover. you know, you think you've kind of gone to every, I don't know, hip hop party, and then there's a new hip hop party here, and there's a new thing. It's, you know, there's you know, New York, you know, not, you know, currently as in like, you know, October 1st, but like in general, New York is, there's always more to discover in New York. You mean always? So
every year, I just
always,
I knew what happened, and no, I didn't. You
know. So let's tell me about Peter Beard. How did that all come about? First of all, I love Peter Beard is one of my all-time favorites. He's another person that's been so just amazing and so important to Black women in particular, to culture, all these different things. But tell me about your experience with Peter Beard.
So, you know, like, I guess, you know, I knew that Peter Beard, after I met him, that it was a true New Yorker, for example. I knew all that after, then I met him, the true New Yorker, you know, nightlife person, and someone that he make things happen during night. Yeah, tell me.
He used to come to my parties, and he was wild. You know, he was so sweet and so wild. I mean, he'd be the last one to leave. You mean, he was cool. He was a very cool, sweet, cool guy, but wild. He had a very wild side.
Yeah, and when I met him, I was in Paris at a charity event. I was sitting next to him, and suddenly I felt actually, you know, that was my first New Yorker. Before I understand New York, I met Peter Beard. So now I understand why Peter Beard is like this, because of New York as well. And when I met him, what the beauty of his soul is the fact that he believed in me before everybody else.
Oh wow, amazing!
And he saw my work.
Why do you think it is? What do you think he saw in you? Why do you think he saw it?
Because, you know, for example, like Peter Beard has a lot of love for photographing Black women.
Yes.
And, after, like, you know, photographing Iman.
As do I. Listen, as do I.
Yeah, like, but I had this passion for it. When I met, you know, the story with Peter. I didn't met him first time in Paris. First, I was visiting New York, and I met him at Bungalow 8.
Oh,
and then
of course. That makes sense.
Me that he was obsessed with my neck, and I didn't understand why. It's because he was explaining the neck of you know, a Black woman, or even women who have this, for example. To show you this, right?
Yeah.
Whatever he's exploring on this, right? And he was talking about this, and it's like, this is what I'm photographing only. I'm only attracted to women who have this kind of neck. And as the perception didn't appear to me, I never realized this. I'd never check the neck on people. I'm a woman, you know. So 2 years after I met him in Paris, and then suddenly we end up at Hotel Coste through a conversation, and he asked me to show my work, and I was just a photographer, but just for fun, because I was just a graphic designer at the time. And I show him my work at Hotel Coste on the computer of the Hotel Coste. And I remember that day very well, because he told me, look at me, and he said, you're not a photographer, you have a gift. We're going to work on this. And then he brought me and invited me to Botswana to the Pirelli calendar 2008. And that was a big change of my life for me. So this man changed my life. He brought me to a space where he teach me, and he put me on my path. He's like, well, I give you the key for you to understand what is the meaning of photography, which bringing meanings within the narrative of the Western world. And my narrative is the wild nature and wildlife and women. Find yourself within this narrative. If you have one, just please use it. And I learned so much from him, you know.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. I didn't realize that he kind of was so instrumental in kind of like boosting you.
Oh yeah.
What did you learn from him? What do you think one of the main things you learned from him? Oops, we froze. IG being shady. We gonna figure it out. She's a photographer, a graphic artist. She'll figure it out. In the meantime, I'm feeling my necklace. How's everyone else feeling tonight? What are we drinking? We should make a drinking word. Oh. Hi guys. I think she hung up. She'll join again. But yes, Peter Beard is amazing. I love him very much. If you guys don't know who he is, he's kind of an amazing artist, photographer. He discovered Iman. He discovered, you know, he's just really his subject, he was very focused on celebrating Black women in the 70s and 80s with these gorgeous photos. And I learned just now that he was instrumental in kind of discovering Delphine as well. I know they worked together. I didn't know that he was kind of the one that put her on the map. Yes, very sad that he's no longer with us. He passed away last year. What's up, Josie? I'm sure Delphine will figure out her technical issues and join us in a moment. How's everyone feeling today? What are we drinking? And I'm drinking Belvedere and soda. And what should we make the drinking word? What are some drinking word suggestions? Well, I have you guys. Tomorrow we have D Nice, which I'm extremely excited about. And then next Thursday is my 100th episode, which I'm also really excited about. So I have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week as well. Thank you, Claudine. Loves my necklace. I do too. Oh yeah, drinking word is art. That's a good one, Sydney. Maybe I'll call her and see. Maybe her phone died, I wonder. It's not going through. So, guys, I'm also having a vintage pop-up on Friday and Saturday. That's going to be very fun. I have a busy weekend in pandemic. I had DJ Kiss last night. I see Arthur's on. We swapped our print stories. It was very, very fun. I really enjoyed it. And like I said, D-Nice is tomorrow, and I am extremely excited to chat with him about just all the amazing things that he has been doing this whole pandemic. So today is DJ Amos' birthday, by the way. Another musical. That's okay. It happens. I do not. Listen.
My light was too warm.
It's fine. No worries. So we left off. Peter Beard, was kind of like instrumental in kind of launching a career, which I did not know that. That's amazing. What is the first piece of art that you kind of fell in love with? Whether it be a painting in a museum or something, whether it be, I don't know, a Basquiat, there's something you saw and you kind of fell in love with.
Oh, Mona Lisa for sure.
I didn't hear you, what?
Mona Lisa.
Oh yeah, exactly, yeah. I have a DJ MOS made a t-shirt and it's Lisa Bonet and it's Mona Lisa Bonet. It's amazing. I love it. It's amazing. I love it.
Really awesome. This is great.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And then, what's the first piece of yours that you fell in love with?
Of mine?
Yep, of your own.
Oh, the work, like the big headpiece picture with the braids and the mask of braids. Yep. I think this is the one, and it teaches me so much about my work and how far I can go into the work. Yeah.
And then when did you realize you were special at this? When did you realize you were special?
When I saw the result, though, and I would tell myself, I'm here. Okay, I just arrived. This is great. Stay there. Stay there. What's next?
Amazing. I'm going to post some of your art tonight, too, because maybe some people are not familiar with it, so I'm going to post some of it tonight, okay?
Yeah.
And then I think you describe what you do as...
people here. Let me just do it.
Oh, yeah, I love it. It's amazing. I love it, yeah. I'm going to post some of that tonight.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So you describe what you do as art as activism.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by that?
I mean, if you really think about the world of photography and the world of representation, we have a very narrow vision of the Black female.
Yep.
And the vision that we have from that perspective is very objectification. Like, it's based on objectification because we grew up with the 90s hip hop era, and the vision of it was very kind of just sexual, aspect to it, where we don't have any other form.
Yeah.
So I feel like my activism is to really push for a different type of vision of the Black female. For example, a good example. A different gaze on the Black female as opposed to just, boobs and butt and things like that, like that kind of thing, Like Janelle Monáe, for example, is tapping into it.
Yeah.
you know, like the new generation, like now starting to understand like the different expression of the black female. And even if I love my queen, like Beyonce and stuff, I felt like there is so many aspects and dimensions that the black female can achieve to be a warrior, you know, a healer, and the way that she's carrying herself should have a little bit more dimension in terms of role model and choices that the young
Well,
black girls should have.
the true essence of who a black female is what you're explaining to me. You mean, and it's not necessarily reflected in culture, at least a lot of times.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah. So
So they
I
have
understand.
hard time to find themselves because if they're only like 2 or 3 model,
Yep.
it's very hard for millions of black women to be able to find who they are.
Yes, it's true. And you know, and unfortunately, in our society right now, everyone's getting fake everything on top of all that. You know, getting fake body parts left, you know, everywhere. So, which is what, you know, the world's showing. You mean? And then you are Senegalese, correct?
Yeah.
And then you went there recently, or you've been there before?
I'm going to Senegal every year for the last 10 years. So
Okay.
I'm sure that I have a relationship with my family there, you know.
Okay. And then did you go to Kahinde's thing when you were there?
Where?
Kahinde Wiley opened that. Yeah.
There.
I haven't been. Nelly Mudime and I were supposed to go together, and the last minute I had to work, and I didn't go to the opening. And I don't regret stuff. I'm not that kind of person. I regret not going to that opening.
Wow.
I know.
You know what comes out? Forget about it.
I know.
That was better because the line outside, just for a story, the line outside was all those queens dressed up with those hairstyles and headdresses and going to the temple of Candy Wiley. That was historical, definitely.
Thank goodness for Kahinde Wiley is all I can say, right?
Yeah, thank you for him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was amazing. So I've never been to Senegal. Tell me, you know, what are some things you like about Senegal?
Well, the idea after this mess and this madness of the world being this way, I think there's going to be probably more people who wants to visit the west coast of Africa.
Yeah.
I think Senegal might be a really good choice. Not because I'm Senegalese, but because my people are actually very welcoming.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because they accepted so many different people. But also the culture, the food is one of the best of the continent. I'm not joking. The dance, the women, Senegalese as one of the most beautiful women in the world. From the Pearl tribe and not the tribe, but Mauritania. So there's a lot of royalty to come to the west coast of Africa, you know.
No, I've been invited, and I want to go really badly. I definitely want to. It's on my, you know, on the top 3 places I want to go. No, I want to go. So what is your first memory of me? Like, when's the first memory you have of me?
Oh my God, that's so hard because I saw you in so many different dimensions. And that's why I think you become timeless, is when we can't remember the first time we saw you, man. Wait, I
remember you. It was Swiss Beats, No Commission, which were amazing. You know what I mean? And I remember the one in the Bronx. You were the one in the Bronx.
Yeah.
And it was the second one, I think.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, first of all, you're gorgeous. You are gorgeous. And I remember thinking how kind of bold and you kind of commanded a certain something within that room of all artists. So, you mean?
Thank you. You're the one who can say it. Yeah, thank you. No Commission in the Bronx was amazing. There's so many people in New York, you know.
That was amazing. Yeah, gorgeous and bold. All right, so I want to ask you a couple quick fun questions. What are the 5 best parties you've ever been to?
It's so hard. Oh my God, it's so hard. I mean, New York is so amazing. I think the best party was your party at the Motown, like the Uptown. What's the name?
Edition Hotel.
The new Edition Hotel. That was the last. Like that was some. Okay, the last good parties that I've been was those ones in 2019. Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
And then Everyday People, Africa.
Yep, love it.
And then Black Coffee at the Brooklyn Navy Yard.
Amazing. That's good. And then who are 4 people you would have to dinner, living or dead?
Damon, repeat your question. What did you say?
Who are 4 people that you would have to dinner? I mean, if living or dead, could be Michael Jackson, could be anybody.
Oh, living or dying. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's coming. It's streaming to me right now. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Nina Simone. Miriam Makeba.
Cool.
And me, I don't say maybe, but fan of it. Wow. It's such a hard question because you tell me 4.
It could be less, doesn't matter.
And you know, obsessions change. I'm obsessed with people, and then I'm changing the next.
Me too. Yeah, my dinner guest list will be one thing on Monday, and it's something a month later. You know, it'll be totally different. That's okay.
I'm always changing.
That's okay. That's good. That just means you're an inspired person. You continually stay. My goal is to always be inspired. Me personally, I think it's the same way.
Yeah, Peter Beard again. Yeah, Peter Beard. I would love.
Oh yeah, Peter Beard. Okay, I want to come to that then.
Jackson again. I would love to have a conversation with him for sure.
Great.
And then Bruce Lee. He said Bruce Lee. Yes.
And then one final question. You know, it's a weird time. Everyone's kind of in this pandemic. How can we support you right now? Is there a way that we can, support you? You're an artist,
Yeah. So I was very lucky to have friends who support me recently, and I want to thank him for supporting me. He just realized that he was investing in stock, and he was going crazy, doing the numbers and buying stocks and making money. And he called me last week and he said, Delphine, I realized that instead of doing this every day, all day long, I would love to buy a piece from you. Because I mean it. I really want to have my place and my investment to fulfill me. And this one doesn't fulfill me when I invest in stock. It doesn't fulfill me.
Yeah.
So the best way to support me is either to buy my work, ask me for, my work or list of my work, then you can buy and purchase and support the Black female narrative within this Western patriarchal white male society. That's a good answer?
Yes, amazing answer. Thank you. And I'm going to post your art. I'm going to post some of your art tonight. I'm going to tag you in all of it so people can become familiar with it, because some of my friends out here I don't think are familiar with it. And I love the answer about supporting the Black female narrative. That's a great thing. Mm-hmm. I want to thank you for doing this. Like I said, this is my 96th episode, and we celebrate people that have been important to culture. I love what you're doing wholeheartedly. I think your mission and your passion, I 100% agree with and stand behind. And I love your art and your photography, and I just want to celebrate you for all that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Damon. Thank you, everyone. Ciao, ciao.
I'm gonna post your stuff tonight, okay?
Okay.
Love you.
Ciao, ciao.